Welcome back for another book talk video. Sometimes on Writer Wednesday, I do a bonus book talk. I just like talking about books so much, I need an extra day in the week to do it. Today, I want to talk to you about a scary children's fantasy story called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. This book was written by L. Frank Baum in 1900. That's a long time ago. Many people know The Wizard of Oz from the film The Wizard of Oz and not from the novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Let's just go ahead and get out of the way some big differences between the book and the film. In the book, Dorothy's trip to Oz is in fact not a dream like it is in the movie, though I did think it was very clever creatively, artistically, to have her friends and family members play characters, people from her everyday life played characters in Oz, thus the actors were able to do both. That was a neat way to have it in the movie, but it's not meant to be a dream. In the book, Dorothy really goes to Oz, though the beginning of the book is kind of boring, talking about Kansas and I guess the prairies, the natural setting there. So I can see how it's not necessarily the most exciting intro for a children's book. It also gets very dark and violent. Dorothy's friends that she meets along the way actually have backstories. If you read the book, you get to know more about the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and how they were created. The Tin Man's story is horrifying, with him having been in love with a girl and how that didn't work out and he got turned into a Tin Man instead of a human. The gifts that the wizard gives Dorothy's companions in the movie are more simplified, though I do like them. They're just different from the book to the movie. In fact, it was those gifts that the wizard gives her companions in the film that made me start thinking about the similarities between The Wizard of Oz and The Great Gatsby. I guess since this is Wednesday, I could do a throwback Thursday tomorrow over The Great Gatsby. In the book, there are differences with the witches, and I know this is something that a lot of people have criticized the film for, because Glinda, the good witch, when she tells Dorothy to go seek out the wizard, it seems strange that at the end of the movie she's like, oh, you had the power to go home all along. Well, in the book, we don't have that strangeness because there are two different characters. It's not Glinda in both of those situations. I was mentioning the violence earlier. There is a lot more of the Wicked Witch actually trying to kill Dorothy and her friends, and them doing a lot of violence to animals and that sort of thing. And it does make me question whether or not this is really an appropriate book for children. But I mean, it is animals. It's not people per se. But in this kind of environment, a lot of the animals are really anthropomorphized. I'll move on from differences between the film and the book to talk about the book as Allegory. Something that a lot of people overlook and underestimate with The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and the film version, The Wizard of Oz, is that L. Frank Baum was really concerned with politics and economics at that time, the turn of the century to 1900, with the Industrial Revolution having an impact on society and the way that people were being treated by politicians. Really, the story is hiding a lot in there. And it's really difficult for authors to write allegory in the sense of trying to make so much of the story symbolic. But I think L. Frank Baum really achieves that. Every single character and element of the story lines up to something for politics and economics. Just as some examples, the title Oz, O-Z, that's how we weigh gold. The story seems very concerned with the gold standard and the silver standard and money, as in the original novel you've got silver slippers instead of the ruby red slippers. So it was the idea of, is Dorothy going to walk on her silver shoes down the golden brick road to travel the land of Oz, the land of weights and measurements for the silver standard or the gold standard, to Emerald City, the bright city of green, representing wealth and dollars and money. Dorothy meets up with the Scarecrow, who represents the farmers who feel like they're disenfranchised, they're not given a proper voice in society. People underestimate farmers, think that they're just hicks from small towns, and thus they think they're dumb, and in the story the Scarecrow is seeking a brain, but it turns out out the message is he really was smart all along. You've got the Tin Man representing the factory workers who, in the factory conditions, it's said to be a heartless environment because people were not treated well, thus the Tin Man seeking his heart. But really, people have hearts all along. They have feelings. They're just trapped in those bad situations. You've got the Cowardly Lion, which is supposed to represent politicians like William Jennings Bryan, where the politicians should have been more courageous in standing up for the people. It's really neat how it all lines up with something symbolically as an allegory. Ultimately, the wizard turns out to be fake, turns out to just be a man behind a curtain making promises to people and then giving them various awards or medals or pretend things that make them feel good when really the people have the power. I enjoy the story of The Wizard of Oz. I gave the book 4 out of 5 stars, and it is part of a series, though I have to admit, I've never gone back and read all the other stories in the series. I've always thought the whole Dorothy ends up in Oz over the rainbow thing to be really interesting because of Norse mythology with Thor and the Rainbow Bridge, where L. Frank Baum seemed to be using that idea of somewhere over the rainbow bridge, traveling to alternate realities or realms via the power of people of Asgard. Hope you enjoyed today's book talk. Every day is a good day for a book talk. Peace. You didn't know you were getting a Marvel MCU crossover here with Dorothy, did you?